All right, then. So if we are good, then I believe it is episode 11.
It's 11, kid. Season 2.
11 of the Stuck on Stuff podcast. Snuk, what up, yo?
It's good, Stiz. Yo, today's episode, Luga Alexander and the Walking Fortunes presents Bodega Alexander.
Hey.
Located on 102 Winthrop Ave in South Lawrence. Grand opening is December 1st. Right down the street from Lawrence High. Everybody go check out Bodega Alexander.
What's it
December
gonna be?
1st.
Is it like a clothing store?
Nah, it's just straight everything. Bodega, all your corner store needs right there. This ain't gonna be no regular corner store neither. They're gonna be having ciphers out front. It's gonna be some crazy shit. I'll give more details as the week go on. But this week Stuck on Stuff is brought to you by Bodega Alexander.
Shout out to Bodega. And for
Stiz, who we got this week, kid? This is a big one.
Episode, I do feel like this is a big one. This one is going to cement us in the podcast world and make us super official. We have writer, journalist, historian. He doesn't like to be called tastemaker, but I think he is a tastemaker in Boston. He was the dude that when I started to come out, I said, yo, I got to get this dude to say that I'm okay.
Right.
Dart Adams. Make some noise
Adams.
for Dart Adams in the building.
How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man.
Good to see you.
Dart, thank you for coming, man. We really appreciate it, brother.
Thanks for letting us in, Stiz.
No doubt. That's what I'm here for.
A little cold outside, kid.
It is brick outside right now, bro.
For the first time.
Yeah, for the first time. Yo, I feel like I would have traded, like, because I feel like we had, like, a real nice October. Like, there was days where it was, like, fucking 80 degrees.
Shit is weird right now,
I would have traded that little Indian summer to not have it be so fucking brick city right now. But I guess it was going to come either way, regardless. So.
You still got a cigarette in, though, didn't you?
I know, but, yo, these...
20-degree cigs, yo.
It's these times where I'm outside freezing like, yo, I don't know, maybe I should quit.
Yeah, you be saying that shit every week. Yo, let's get right into it, yo. I know they're going to hear this shit on Monday, but this shit right now, we're recording a couple days early this week. Eminem just dropped a new song. Your man Eminem just dropped a new song.
And I'm not going to lie, I don't know how I feel about it.
Well, you told me how you feel about it, and you do not like it at all.
I don't.
Dart didn't hear it yet. We just played it for Dart, so we're getting Dart's live, literally, like, heard this shit.
Yeah, Dart's live.
I want to know what Dart Adams thinks of this shit before I say what I think.
It's fucking trash.
Oh, shit.
But here's the thing.
Starting off crazy, Stiz.
But here's the thing. I've been listening to Eminem for like, okay, so it's 2017 now. So I've been listening to Eminem for over 20 years. 20 years or over 20 years.
Right? It's crazy it's been that long.
And so I was half my age the first time I heard Eminem.
Right.
When he was like a battle dude from Detroit with the hip hop shop was like still around.
Yeah.
Right.
And this does nothing for me.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the first 3 Eminem albums, definitely the first 2 Eminem albums I feel are classics. The third one, I waver back and forth on if it's not.
It's got a few joints.
I think the third one's the best musically.
Yeah.
But after that, I didn't want to own any Eminem albums. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would listen to his albums and be like, eh.
Yeah, I mean, Encore definitely was super. What came after that?
What was the fourth
Relapse?
one? Fourth one was Encore?
Fourth one was Encore.
Eminem Show, Encore.
I like the fourth one. It
wasn't
on the
greatest
level.
hits thing.
Right,
Then I mean, Encore had like a couple joints that I would play like once in a while. Like I appreciated.
Because he was still spitting in that same kind of way a little on Encore.
Yeah. You didn't like Recovery, Dart?
No. I didn't like Recovery or Relapse. I mean, I heard them and I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Then I heard Relapse. I'm like, all right, I understand. I was like, just stop making albums.
But what about Marshall Mathers LP? A lot of people hate that shit. I thought LP Part 2 was really
Marshall
good.
Mathers LP is dope. Part 2? There was a Part 2?
Yeah.
I didn't fuck with it at all.
Yeah. What was the single off LP 2?
I don't know.
The Rick
I
Rubin
guarantee
shit.
you it was terrible.
Yeah.
The Rick Rubin shit. The shit about to kick off.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yo,
that
look,
was all right.
I like that.
Eminem is one of the greatest MCs of our generation. But he's also made some of the worst fucking singles of our generation.
A lot of people say he has a shitty time picking singles. I've heard that.
He also has a horrible ear for beats, but don't forget that.
Yeah,
that's honestly why
Easy Money hates the beats on the last shit.
That's honestly though. Oh, the last shit. Oh, that's LP two. But that's honestly why I liked Recovery, because he stepped outside of the Dre's gonna produce everything, and he hooked up with like Khalil, and he hooked up with Boy Wonder, and I thought we got some good beats out of that.
Yeah, we got some great instrumentals.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get some Dre shit on this, you think?
I would imagine. Yeah, I would imagine.
If you say are we gonna get some Dre shit? Is it gonna be Dre shit?
Right. Yeah. That's
or is it gonna be
thing,
Dre and somebody else he worked with?
Right.
But so here's the thing: like, people get older. Eminem isn't 25 anymore.
Yeah.
Eminem is mid 40s, I'd say. Is super fucking rich.
Probably
Yeah.
late 40s.
Is a dad. He's been a dad for a long time, but now he has kids that are, you know, older now, coming into their own.
Mm-hmm.
He's been through sobriety now. He's sober. And I can say, speaking as someone who went through the drug thing and is now kind of doing the sober thing, like I smoke trees, but I don't drink really anymore. I don't do drugs. I mean, that does do something to you. I mean, I've heard the argument even with rock and roll where people say like, you made better music when you were getting fucked up.
Right.
See, that's the thing. Here's the thing.
I wonder if
Here's the thing.
I don't think that's true. Slane will tell you that's not true.
I don't agree with that because Slane is going to be one person that I use as that example.
Thank
but
you.
there are a whole bunch of artists that make better music after they get lucid and clear and they can think straight and they're living straight.
yeah.
Eminem, I don't think that that's the issue. The issue is that Eminem has never lost his ability to rhyme. Eminem has never lost his hunger to rhyme words or attack the English language and flip it and manipulate it.
He does that shit like
very
no
well,
other.
yeah.
It's just that in an album
Musically,
context, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
I think he's a great MC.
So what
I'd
would-
love to see his
What,
freestyle.
you want to hear a song?
Hold on. What would make you give a fuck?
A fucking time machine.
All right. So it's like that.
It's 2017. I don't give a fuck to hear an Eminem album.
So then what about Jay?
Jay-Z, I don't want to hear fucking Eminem. I want to hear Eminem album. I want to hear a Jay-Z
All
album.
right.
We're
Really?
done.
As long as
We're
you're
done.
consistent. As long as you're keeping it consistent.
I don't look
because
look,
I get
I
fired
wanna
up
hear,
for both of them.
I want to hear a
still.
Cool G rap album. I don't give a
Right,
fuck how
right.
old he is. I want to hear a Cool G rap album. Master Ace, I don't care how old Master Ace gets. He could be 60. I want to hear a Master Ace album.
All right.
Okay? Those are people that make albums I want to hear regardless.
Right.
Jay-Z stopped making albums I gave a fuck about a long time ago.
So I
See,
take
I
it
don't know.
you
I
don't.
fucked
So
with-
you
I
ain't like
fucked with
444.
444.
I fucked with that shit
Like
heavy.
444.
This sounds like a leftover.
But here's the
from
thing.
444
Here's the thing
to
about
me.
444.
Yeah, you said that.
444.
Could
Is
be.
it a good album? Yes. Do I want to ever hear it again? No.
There's a couple
Wow,
joints.
that's
I
crazy.
I think Jay-Z is capable of still making good albums. The question is, do I give a fuck
Okay.
individually?
So you don't individually give a fuck because I
I
think he
don't
just did
individually-
made a dope album.
yeah, I think Jay-Z actually made a pretty good
Yeah,
album.
definitely
But
better than the
I'm
last
never
shit.
going to play that shit again. It's in my iTunes
Yeah.
right now. You know
What
what I'm
was
saying?
But let's say that
before
week it
444?
dropped. That week it was Magna Carta.
Oh yeah.
That
Magna
week,
Carta was fucking horrible to me. Magna Carta, Holy Grail.
yeah.
He sounded like a 40-something-year-old trying to rap like a 20-something.
Well, I
year old.
loved it because he's my number one. But when you go back and you know what I'm saying, and now that it's
Hindsight 2020.
yeah, when you place it where it needs to be placed, it's not even close, obviously. But
Yeah.
It's like the same thing where it's like I'm gonna love Public Enemy forever. If Chuck D's giving a lecture, I'm gonna be there. Do I want to hear a Public Enemy album? No. My last Public Enemy album I bought was 25 years ago. It was called Greatest Misses.
Damn.
wow.
I'm never buying another. I don't want
Right.
to hear another Public Enemy album.
I know what you're saying.
And it's not that Public Enemy's whack because people could tell me all day. It's like, yo, Public Enemy still makes good music. They'll play me a song. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. I don't want to hear it. I'm good. You
I
know what
like
I'm saying?
it.
And it's like we have to understand. Like Ice Cube is gonna forever be a great dude. I don't want to hear a fucking Ice Cube album anymore.
Nah, I
The
know
last
what you're
Ice
saying.
Cube album I ever wanted to hear, I bought with my own money, was Lethal Injection in 1994.
Right.
And when I heard that album, I was like, oh, I'm done.
Who's a new artist that you're fucking with right now?
There's a whole lot. Matter of fact, there's a album by these guys, Mutant Academy. It's Concept Jackson, and Fly Anakin, and they did an album with this dude Twomey, this producer. That album's dope. I listened to that all day today, man.
Where are they from?
Virginia.
Virginia.
They're from Virginia. It's like I listen to a bunch of new cats. It's just that I don't listen to a lot of mainstream new cats because for whatever reason, mainstream rap, there's no real vetting process and it's boring and they can't rap or they don't make good music. I don't care what label you're on. I don't care if you're mainstream or hard or whatever. All I care about is that you make good music. I'm an album guy.
Word.
Yeah.
To me, singles are just preludes to an album. I don't give a fuck how good that song you got. You're not hot because you have a hot song out. Back in the days, you were hot because of that hot song because it's leading up to an album.
Your mind's not hot.
Your mind's not hot.
Well,
We'll
we had
it.
it. We had this discussion about singles and albums.
I was just gonna say that.
When we had
Tell them.
we had Marcella Cruz on and shit because it is now. We
were wondering.
We think of things in terms of albums.
Yeah.
Me as an MC, when I make a song, I say,
Yeah.
"Fuck, this is an intro, outro." Nah, this is a.
Yeah.
That's how we think, and when we're creating shit, that's not how the world thinks. Now
Not
the world
anymore, no.
thinks in singles or even tringles. Like Marcella drop a tringle,
yeah.
3 at once. So it is. I know you think in album form.
Yeah.
Because
'Cause I'm old.
I do as well. but the world ain't thinking in those terms right now.
And that's what we were wondering.
Which is tough,
is if for an artist like myself or like Snuk, if it's better for us to maybe just try to drop dope singles.
Well, yeah. Well,
instead of
nowadays,
Nowadays, yes.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. We're going back. We're reverting because time repeat. I'm a historian.
Right.
History repeats itself. Back before the LP era happened, like the 40s up until like the early 60s, everything was single based. Like if you look at the early artists in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they are all people that had 400 million singles. And their albums were just a collection of singles, and people, and they just put them out just to be LPs.
Yeah,
people didn't give a fuck about albums.
Almost every joint on an album would have been a single.
Yeah. Nobody gave a fuck about albums. All everybody cared about was buying that 45, buying that 45, buying that 45.
Do you remember when singles were a thing? Like I remember buying singles on
because
CDs
when I was like, I remember
shit.
I was born in 1975. 1976 was the first year that they made 12-inch singles. Okay, everything used to be 45. So when I was growing up, my father and my mother and my uncles, everybody had a stack of 45s with their names on them that I inherited. But like everything was single based until like 1967, 68, 69. And then everybody had to focus on making albums. And then it changed radio. Because radio was like, all right, now we're going to program for albums. And then there's the single from the album. So you have your album, which is the 12-inch. Then you have the single, which is the 45.
But you had the B-side, and that was the dope part, is you got a B-side,
and then
gave you something to look forward to on the album.
Yeah.
And then instrumentals too as well.
But here's the crazy part is that sometimes you had the A side and you had the AA side. So they're both singles.
Oh, shit.
So that shit changed the whole game. But nowadays, everything is single-based again. Because everybody streams everything, everybody listens to everything on Spotify or whatever the hell.
And as an artist, you got to adapt to that as an artist, or you get left behind. It just is what it is as an artist.
Albums are a fucking afterthought nowadays.
Right.
Everything is a playlist. Everything's a playlist. When I was coming up, the playlist was full of singles from albums. The whole point of making a playlist, making a mixtape, is so people go look for their album. This is completely different now.
I love and I miss the days of like an album that like kind of told a story throughout it. I miss skits a little bit when they were done well, I guess I would say. But I liked albums, you know what I mean? Like I did.
Let me ask you this, Doc, speaking of albums, what's the worst album that you own? Or an album that say you love, but everybody else fucking hates that shit.
Well, see, here's the thing: albums that I love that everybody hates are strictly because of like taste, and like I like some abstract shit.
But it's an opinion question.
Yeah. So it's an opinion question. I'll say like an album that I think is incredible that I love that other people just like I don't 100% get it. It's like there's a group out of Chicago called Rubber Room, and they made an album called Architechnology. I consider it a classic rap album.
Wow.
And it's like when I run across people that love that record, it's like I just made a friend for life. It's like, yo, you love that shit? You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody really gets that album. Yeah. It's a really hard, dense, super heavy lyrical album.
When is that from?
It's 1998 underground rap. They were on Indish Records. They were like friends with this dude called Thaw 4. It's like really underground Moleman, like that whole Chicago rap era.
All right.
This is like a Kanye-esque time. Kanye, Grav, all them cats.
All right.
So
I have no idea, but I believe
Juice. It was one of the greatest battle rappers of all time, Juise. He battled Eminem too.
Yeah.
But like what was the other part of the question?
Or it's just the worst album that you physically own?
The worst album that I physically own?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give that to there was this dude out of Philadelphia who was down with like Kwame, and he was signed to Rough House in like 1990, 1991 called Larry Lair. He made an album called The Wizard of Odds. And I bought it for $6.99 from Tower Records. And I, to this day, if I ever see Larry Lair, because he lived in Massachusetts. No, dead ass. Larry Lair lived in Massachusetts for the longest. He went to school here. And if I ever run into Larry Lair, I'm going to ask him for my 734 back.
That's awesome. Yo, so Dart, talk a little bit about like how you came up. Like how you came up in this Boston scene and how you started to become a voice of.
How did Dot Adams become Dot Adams?
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, I lucked out in every way possible. Like I rolled the fucking 99 with a fucking 100-sided die. In about 3 different respects. First of all, was born and raised in the South End, Lower Roxbury. I grew up on Mass Ave, right before Boston City Hospital. Now it's Mass General or whatever. No, Boston Medical Center. My mistake. But
on Mile.
Yeah, I grew up on Mass Ave between Tremont and Columbus, and my cousins were in Orchard Park Projects. And one of my cousins was best friends with a guy named Ralph Tresvant. My cousins, Dion and Barron, and then I had like all these other cousins there, but they were friends with like this whole group of kids. And that group of kids included Ralph, Bobby Brown, Ricky, Mike, Bobby Brown. And then on the other side, I have family from I'm half black and half Honduran. My Honduran side of my family, my first cousin on my Honduran side is this guy named Marco Antonio Ennis, who's known as E. Devious, or Antonio Twice Thou of Almighty RSO, and also Antonio and Salty Clothing.
Wow.
So, and
this shit is all around you.
And then my other cousin on my mother's side is this guy named Danger or Dane. And Dane is Dane of the MIC.
Okay.
So and then Boston is the size of Shaq's left shoe.
Right.
So everybody who was in the music industry, everybody who was rapping, everybody who was singing, all knew each other. And I was a little kid in the middle of all that. So
that's dope.
I lucked out. And so my big brother used to hang out with my cousin Barron. My cousin Barron would always hang out with the dudes from New Edition.
That's funny because I was watching the BET did that little 3-part.
The New Edition thing? Yeah.
Yes. And I was watching it, and like when New Edition started to pop a little bit, and they were showing like in the streets of Boston, and they were singing for all the kids, and I just remember thinking like, wow, like I wonder what that was like to see that.
Yeah.
To like literally see that and be like, oh my God, like, yeah, I know these kids. And then all of a sudden, New Edition.
Because you had to see it because it was no social media bullshit.
Yeah, it's not like it was today, man. Like you were seeing that shit out on the streets. Like, what was that like? That's fucking dope.
Okay, so I was a kid, and so my cousins would come to the crib, or my cousin Barron would come to the crib, and he would come get my brother. And my sister would be, and there was like 4 of us. So my sister was like, I'll stay with the baby, my younger brother. And she was like, but you got to take him. So I was always trailing behind them. I was like 7 and 8, but they're older. So they're like anywhere between 7 and 9 years older than me. And I was always around for shit I wasn't supposed to be around for as a little kid.
Right.
Conversations I wasn't supposed to be privy to. So that's kind of what happened. So I was around for the early days of New Edition when they started recording Candy Girl, when they were doing the talent shows. I was hearing about it. I was seeing girls react to them in the streets and pee themselves and crash bikes.
Crazy.
And like, because I used to tell stories on Twitter about like this time this girl saw New Edition, crashed her bike, skinned her knee, and had damn near peed herself, and she's going crazy for New Edition. And I'm the little kid who doesn't understand, and I'm like, you're bleeding. You're bleeding. And it like hit me like, yo, be quiet, be quiet. I was like, did you pee yourself? You know, I don't get it.
She didn't give a rat's ass.
But like, they blow up or whatever, the album comes out and it blows up and then they're gone.
Right.
They're like overseas. They're doing tours or whatever. And it's like, that's just the guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
like
they ain't around no more.
Like Ralph ain't Ralph, he's Riz. You know what I'm saying? There's Bobby. Bobby's been Bobby forever. Bobby used to be in dance groups. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody used to do different shit. So like Boston, nowadays our pride is in sports, right?
Yeah.
Back in the days, our pride was in the talent show circuit because we did that better than anybody.
That's crazy.
People would come from all over, California, New York, and come to Boston, to Roxbury, specifically to see our talent shows because they used to poach talent from us.
That's crazy. Imagine.
Yeah.
Dude.
They touch on that a little too on the New Edition thing that they did on the TV.
Yeah, they didn't get into detail. But like, the fact of the matter is that without Boston, rap would be fucked up because a lot of the rap hits were produced by Boston guys. Arthur Baker and John Roby, who were in Planet Patrol, and New Edition's producers were Johnson Crew. Johnson Crew was the first group to be released on Tommy Boy on the album, but they were the in-house producers for Tommy Boy Records. So all the big hits coming out, like Planet Rock, it was produced by Bostonians. Jazzy Sensation was produced by Bostonians. So like when you look at the early rap hits from like 1979 all the way up to 1983, they had Boston producers. Matter of fact, there was a time when Johnson Crew was producing for Sugar Hill. They replaced everybody that was producing for them, and they replaced them with Sugar Hill. Sugar Hill used the money from the shit that they produced for them to open up Boston International, which is where they recorded all the stuff on Linwood Square, where they recorded all the stuff for New Edition. Then after that blew up, then they moved down the street from where I live now. So
craziness.
So maybe if history repeats itself, which Dart said, I believe that, maybe Boston's due for another.
Might be. It's starting to happen now. You can see. But, you know what I'm saying? But go.
Yeah, but like, so that's how I grew. So that's how I grew up. But I just was the little kid that saw everything happen. And the other weird part, like I said, that there were 3 facets in which like I rolled a 99.
Right.
The other 2 I talked about. The third one was I had family because I'm half Honduran. My family was also lived in a place called Mount Vernon, New York. So we used to get calls from Mount Vernon from my cousins Tammy and Anzetti, the McBrides, and they used to tell us, and they used to tell us about their friend Dwight, who got signed to MCA. Dwight is Heavy D.
Oh,
crazy.
So to this day, like I know like Grap Lover and Pete because they're family friends.
Wow. Amazing. The ties are crazy.
Yeah, so that's how Dart Adams was made. I was hearing stories about like rap and the inner workings of the industry and whatever from being a little kid.
Right.
And then like what happened was, since everything is tied together, I grew up in the industry and I was privy to a lot of stuff. Like my big brother was signed to a developmental group, to a developmental deal for a hot minute with Maurice Starr. And later on his girlfriend was in a group called Not Your Average Girls, which were, they used to, this is gonna fuck you up. Not Your Average Girls used to battle back and forth with this other girl group, and they used to have all these showcases.
This other girl group's about to be.
Yeah, so this other girl group,
right.
The showcases used to go, they used to come in first. They used to come in first a lot of times, and they would come in second. And sometimes they'd come in first, and that other group would come in second. Until one time there was this big showcase, and the other girl group won, and they got a record deal. That girl group were these the Braxton sisters from Maryland.
Woo!
Craziness.
Yeah.
Tony Braxton.
Yes. So, yeah, all them.
All of them.
Here's what's hilarious, right? That same label that signed them, they kind of put them on the shelf because they wanted Tony to be solo, but she wouldn't leave her sisters for the longest. So what happened was they get hit up. This is gonna fuck you up. They get hit up by this record label that didn't have too much success at the time called LaFace.
LaFace.
And they're like, they hit up their manager, which was a dude, Larry Wu.
Yeah.
Larry Wu. And they're like, yo, we want to talk to Not Your Average Girls because we want to like have a meeting with them because we're looking to sign a new girl group.
Right.
And he says no, because y'all ain't got shit popping. At the time, all they had was this group called Damian Dame. Both of those, they've both since died. And they had Jermaine Jackson, who couldn't pop off because his brother kept blocking his songs for whatever reason. And so he's like, I don't want to sign with LaFace. They ain't got shit going on. Wow, and so what happens is they say fine, they don't fuck with them. And what happens is homeboy's wife, Pebbles, has a group called Third Nature, and she develops them and changes them with another girl and gives them a meeting, and they end up signing them. That group is now TLC.
Woo!
LaFace, yeah, it all makes sense.
We were kind of just talking. This was something I didn't know about TLC. We were kind of just off air talking about the Drink Champs episode with Jermaine Dupri.
Oh, boy.
Right.
And JD was saying
he said something about Face, right? Well, about baby Face.
No, he said something about how Left Eye was living with him.
Yeah.
He had originally signed TLC. But they didn't have Chili. It was just
that's not a
Left
thing.
Eye
Yeah.
and
because it was a different group. It was there was a group called Second Nature or something to that effect.
That was their name.
And one girl dropped out. And okay, if you watch the video for Backyard, which is Pebbles video, you will see Chili, not Chili. You'll see T-Bars. You'll see T-Bars, and you'll see another girl. You know what I'm saying? Because she had them after that, but they weren't fully TLC yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's crazy. But yeah, so But Jermaine Dupri, man, he's
yeah. You were saying he was yeah. You don't fuck with JD because I was thinking when I watched the Drink Champs thing, they were kind of saying, Nori was bigging him up, saying like, "Yo, you're like the Puffy of the South," and I was thinking about it.
Well, yeah, he's the Puffy of the South because he bit everything Puffy did.
Yeah,
he's absolutely did. Jermaine Dupri is one of the with somebody with snaggle teeth. That's why, because he's a biting motherfucker.
Oh,
he's one of the bitingest. Stealing he's the tofu motherfucker, man. Anything that he'll take the flavor of anything. He Shang Tsung's the shit out the industry.
Now he was saying though
he's done it since he was a kid.
He was trying to because I guess the Rap Radar podcast or whatever had JD on and said to him
Rap Radar too.
Yeah, we'll get into that too.
Fuck
but
everybody.
he said I guess Rap Radar was like, "Nah, Jay, we don't put you in the top 5 producers."
Why the fuck would they?
And
he's in my top 5.
JD said what made JD different is that he wrote all his shit, and that's what he said.
Well, yeah,
because he said
that's true too.
Dre, there was about to be a little beef with Dre and JD because JD said,
I remember that. Yeah.
Listen, you put me and Dre in a song in a studio,
right.
I'm gonna be the first one to come out with a fully done song.
Right.
The
Which
reason
is true.
why,
yeah, but also
is because I write all my shit.
But another reason why is because he's gonna bite everything Dre does. So he's gonna have a blueprint.
I love it.
Jermaine Dupri is the bitingest motherfucker.
Can we
this is like my top 2 or 3 producers all time.
Okay, let me tell you. His career starts out. He has a group called Silk Times Leather. Silk Times Leather is a bite of salt and pepper.
Mm-hmm.
The next group he signs, he develops these kids he sees in the mall. Now here's the thing: he sees these kids in the mall that are wearing their clothes backwards.
Wrote that whole album. I didn't know
clothes that they're wearing backwards, they bit from Belle Biv DeVoe. Belle Biv DeVoe wore the backwards clothes first. They wore their clothes backwards and also inside out and also mismatched. And they called it the mental style. Now what they did was they developed a group from Atlanta called Another Bad Creation. And they passed the
colorful shit,
the crisscross style and also the backwards gear style to them. So they would do showcases around Atlanta wearing backwards gear before they put out their album. And these kids saw them do that, and they rocked that shit in the mall, and Jermaine Dupri was like, "Oh, I like that look."
Yeah, listen to JD tell it. He was like, "I don't know, it just came to me one time."
Bullshit.
That's shit. Put your clothes backwards.
I'm a Boston dude, right? I remember when Belle Biv DeVoe came up with that shit, and then they passed it on to the kids. Because Biv created Biv 10. Biv 10 had his partnership with Motown. Biv saved Motown.
Really?
He saved Motown with Biv 10. Motown didn't have shit going on. He brought them platinum acts at a time when they had nothing going on. He saved Motown.
Stiz, you wore your clothes backwards when Criss Cross was out?
No, I don't know if I wore my clothes backwards, but I mean, I remember when Jump came out, I was like,
but here's the thing. Jump was stolen too.
Oh shit! They touched on that.
Jermaine Dupri,
but a lot of people said that they came up with Jump first.
Yeah, that's
Jermaine
bullshit.
Was saying.
Jermaine Dupri signed with Rough House. Before he came to Rough House, they were shopping. House of Pain was shopping Jump Around to people, and they brought it to Joe the Butcher Nicolo, and he had it. So he played it supposedly for him, and he went and he made. That's why it's imitating the horn that sounds like a horn that DJ Muggs put in Jump Around. And also what he did to cover up everything is he sampled I Want You Back by Jackson 5, and then he wanted the rhyme, so he bought a rhyme from Tretch. Tretch wrote the rhymes for Jump.
Really?
And
is this common knowledge or is this like
it's common knowledge for heads?
Yeah.
So,
so they try to rhyme, but they can't rhyme like this.
Yeah, Bo, Tretch wrote
that just sound like Tretch like a motherfucker if you think about it.
So that happens, and then they're wearing their clothes backwards. So they started beef with 3 people to start because everybody in Boston is like, yo, they're biting not only Belle Biv DeVoe, but they're biting Another Bad Creation, who's also from Atlanta. That's why the beef started between Another Bad Creation and Criss Cross.
Shit.
Yeah.
Blowing my mind right now.
And that started the
kid rap. Because these are all childhood, I'm in elementary school bumping all these.
That started the whole kid rap beef.
Kid rap beef.
Yeah, there was a huge years. There was years of kid rappers beefing. But that's what started that. But Jermaine Dupri bit that, and then he bit 2 people at once, and then he didn't pay Tretch. But then what happened after that was he started biting he bit Dr. Dre. If you watch the video for Functified, basically it's just biting everything that they were doing.
The Biggie video?
No, is the Brat.
No. I know.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Funktified Brat video, was that biting what?
Oh, no,
big
that
video?
was biting. That was biting like everything they were doing on Death Row.
Oh, like
Yeah.
what?
And then
Wasn't
here's
that
the
video
thing.
like a giant house party and
Yeah,
shit like that?
yeah. But also, here's the thing. When the Brat came out, the Brat was kind of biting Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see it. She's a girl, but
yeah,
I see it.
Yeah, she was like, her whole shit was like what Snoop Dogg was doing.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because
I
like,
fucked with that album heavy too when I was a little kid.
a lot
I
of
thought
people
Brat
did.
was dope. She's
Yeah.
one of my
Listen to
she's
the
my top
B-side.
two female
Yeah.
MCs all
yeah.
time.
So it's like
For me.
and then like he went from Dre, then he went to Puffy when Puffy started doing the shit like getting jiggy. Yeah. I'ma make you dance. Yeah. Jermaine Dupri bit that. When he became Diddy, he became Don Chi Chi. He started biting
Put some thought into this shit, huh?
he started biting Timbaland. Then he started biting fucking Neptunes.
Damn.
If you like, there's an album that nobody's ever heard. I heard pieces of it back when I used to work at Hip Zeppy.
Shout out Hip
This dude ROC. He signed a dude named ROC.
I remember ROC was nice.
ROC ended up becoming a ghostwriter. I think he did a lot.
I always wonder what happened to ROC.
Him and I think T.I. ended up doing a lot of writing for Bow Wow.
Because he did put ROC, last I heard, first probably and last was the 1472 album.
Yeah.
ROC did some shit on there.
Yeah.
I thought the kid was going to blow once I heard him.
Me too. Because if you heard the joints that were like supposed to be on the album,
Right, yeah.
a lot of that shit was very
I can imagine,
very Neptunesy. It was
All
very
right.
Neptunesy. It never came out though.
All right, wait. Let's take it back to Boston a little bit.
Yeah.
So, talk about like when Edo comes to mind, but talk about like when Boston starts to like break through with rap.
Okay.
Past
So
not R&B.
Okay, so here's what happened, right? 1988 is what started everything because what happens is New Edition blows up with Heartbreak, Bobby Brown blows up with Don't Be Cruel, and New Kids on the Block blows up with Hangin' Tough. So those three acts took over the world. All right.
Facts.
So what happened is all the labels said, "What the fuck else is going on in Boston?"
Right.
So they come to Boston and they just start signing everybody. So there was this girl, Tam Tam. Bobby Brown starts working with her or whatever. She gets signed to Island. Tam Tam gets her record deal. There's this kid T-Max who was in a group called Young Nation. T-Max gets signed to a major. I don't remember which one. There was this other group that got signed by Funk Master Flex when he was working at Profile, Joint Venture. So they get a deal. There was this other group, Juice with Soul. Juice with Soul gets signed to Atlantic.
Man, people getting deals.
Yeah, like everybody was getting deals. There was this other group called Here and Now. Wyatt Jackson, who was an OG, he got signed. They were on Third Stone Atlantic too. They got a major deal. So there was this R&B group that had been around forever called Lady Soul, which was being pushed by Maury Starr. They get signed to a major. They get the first single on the fucking Sister Act soundtrack. If my sister's in trouble, bam, they're signed to a major. There's this group called Homework. Bam, they get signed to a major.
Damn.
So Boston had there was a stretch where Boston had like 12 acts signed to major. Later on, there was this dude, reggae dude named Ruffa. He gets signed to MCA. Before that, there was this group called Picture Perfect, girl group. They had an album called Boy Crazy. They got signed to a major off the strength of all this shit Boston. So Boston there was this group back in the day, girl group. They used to go to Madison. They were called 9.9. Back in like 85, they got signed to a major. So like Boston had mad groups signed to majors. None of them blew.
Yeah.
None of them blew. You know what I'm saying?
And what happens when you sign to a major? They give you money to do a project, and then they hope that they recoup.
Yeah.
Plus some.
But here's the thing: like, if you don't get promotion, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
If your single comes out and they don't push it, it doesn't work. If it dies on radio, it doesn't work. If fucking your video doesn't get played anywhere but BET on one show, you die. Yeah. So it's
all those things have happened. Yeah.
And all those things happen to everybody. Tam Tam comes out and they have her trying to do the whole spandex MC Hammer thing, but a girl. And Tam can rhyme her ass off. And they tried to make her pop.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. And it's like there's a whole lot of that happening. And then it's like what happened was
at the time there was a lot of that.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. So a lot of people got signed and nobody stuck around. Only person that stuck around and made something happen was Ed O.G. Ed O.G. was the first guy to put out a classic, I Gotta Have It. But here's the thing. I Gotta Have It blew up and it was the #1 rap record, not only in the country, but fucking globally at one point. Do you know Ed O.G. couldn't perform a show in Boston when his song was the hottest song?
And why is that?
Because there was no venue to hold him. There was no venue to play in.
That's insane.
No venue at all, or no venue that wanted to fuck with hip hop?
That too.
Okay.
Both. So he has to do shows in fucking New York, New Jersey, maybe even like Providence, Rhode Island. He can't do a show in Boston, and he has the #1 song, and it's about Boston.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Me and Ed talk about this shit. We talked about this shit like the last 2 times we did like podcasts or shows together.
Yeah.
It blows my mind to this day. Now, what's even crazier is that Almighty RSO, right? Almighty RSO gets the deal. They want Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
They put out One in the Chamber. It takes a while to catch on, and then there's a B-side. He's gonna catch it, right? One in the Chamber is a song about snitching and police brutality. It addresses those 2 issues. Okay. They were the first group to really talk about someone snitching in the hood and police brutality. And what happened is after the cop killer controversy happened with Warner Brothers, they get dropped. But they end up back with Tommy Boy when they signed with Flavor Unit. But that falls through too.
Man.
Yeah, so it's like Boston acts are getting signed to majors. They had the lead single on the Flavor Unit compilation called Bad Boys. But everybody remembers Roll with the Flavor. They had the first single.
Right.
They had the first video too. So it's crazy because there's all these Boston acts that blew up. Oh, and fucking Marky Mark.
Yeah.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
What did you think?
And by the way,
what were the people, your age? So it's like it would almost be like me now, like what? Or no, younger, I would say. Sorry, but like, what was the consensus when Marky Mark came out of nowhere?
I'll tell you my Marky Mark story.
Yes, please.
I'll tell you my Marky Mark story.
Please do.
All right, so again, my brother and his girlfriend were in Not Your Average Girls. So Not Your Average Girls was a big deal in Boston at the time. So everybody's getting behind them. There was a show called Boston Fresh. They were like the fly girls of the show. And what happens is they used to hang around with this dude, MC Spice. MC Spice is the first Boston rapper to get signed to a major. He was the first rapper signed to Atlantic Records, period.
Damn.
He had a single called Don't Treat Your Girlie Like a Dog, Dog, Dog. Shit flopped. And then right after that, MC Lyte came out with Paper Thin, and she blew up.
Right.
And everybody forgot about MC Spice. But MC Spice, he was like the A&R of the hood. But MC Spice wrote and produced damn near most of Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch's album.
Yeah.
And that album blew up, and it was one of the first big albums on Interscope after Gerardo's album, right? So
Gerardo.
So MC Spice plays Good Vibrations before it comes out for my brother's girlfriend and him, and I'm just there.
So they play it for Not Your Average Girls.
Yeah, well, I think it was her and her sister who were in Not Your Average Girls, and there was my brother was there, and maybe her other boy, maybe the her sister's boyfriend, and me.
And
I was just around.
Dot Adams just chilling.
I was like 15. I had a fucking mustache and a fucking beard and everything. Everybody thought I was fucking 20. And so he plays it for him, plays it for him, and they're like,
feel the vibration.
They're like, this shit's gonna be a hit.
They're
like getting excited. They're getting excited because they also know the woman singing on it because everybody knows her and she's like a vocal coach and everybody's pulling for her.
Well, and if you just hear the beat in the hook alone, you're like, all right, I can see this.
Yeah, and I hate club shit. Right. I'm like a backpacker. I'm like the street kid.
Yeah.
So there was like, so he plays it and he's like, yeah. So what'd you think? I was like, fuck Mark, I'll battle him right now. He's trash. And he's laughing.
He's trash.
He's laughing. I was like, nah, I'll battle Mark right now. Fucking take this Adidas right off his feet. Fuck it, I'll set it up. And he's laughing, and I don't get it because my brother's looking at me like, what's the matter with you? Yeah. And they're just like not paying attention. But I don't get it. MC Spice wrote that rhyme on purpose. That was his specialty. His specialty was making hits. And nothing's going to move in Boston unless we have hits first. And I didn't get that. I'm 15. All I care about is rhyme, rap.
You're just worried about the officialness.
Yeah, I hated it. I fucking hated it.
Then that shit blew up.
But then it hit the radio,
crazy,
and it blew up, and it blew up everywhere, and it became like the second #1 rap song to be a Billboard #1 hit.
Fucking Marky Mark.
Marky Mark.
Crazy.
And to this day, that kind of stains us because whenever somebody thinks about Boston, they think about Marky Mark, and they don't think about Ed O.G.
Right.
And Ed O.G. still has a career. And Marky Mark is out here making fucking movies.
Ed O.G. still be overseas all the time, so
yeah, exactly.
It was a beautiful thing that record.
And he still makes excellent albums. That's the key thing. He still makes excellent albums.
Mark's probably still cashing fucking Feel the Vibration checks.
I guarantee he would be if it was for the fact that he actually didn't write and produce anything.
I was gonna say,
So MC Spice is getting that money. Thank
MC
God.
Spice still out here? Yeah.
Yes.
That's dope.
Yes. MC Spice is still out here.
To know. All right,
I just like that you guys call Ralph Riz.
Yeah, he's Rizzo.
Yo, but just tell me, both you matter of fact, why is everybody in the hood? Is their name starts with a R? Tell me their name is not Riz.
Well, that's how Stiz.
Yo, how many Rizzes you know?
Yeah, I do. I know.
Yo, how many Rizzes you know? I know like 20 Rizzes.
That's how Stiz came because my name is Stan.
Stiz.
And that was like the thing. You put the IZ on
right,
it. Riz, Stiz.
Right.
Yeah.
I felt bad for you if your name was John. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Yeah, back in the day, everything was IZZ.
Yeah,
so like if your name was John, you was Jizzy, Jizz or Jizzy Blow.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Something like that.
So y'all must have been happy as hell, man. Can you imagine if a Boston artist right now had the #1 fucking record in the world? Like I would just be. I would be like, I mean, and I feel like that's the hope with all with Cousin Stiz getting through, with Joyner Lucas getting through, with Token getting through.
But now when you're talking about #1s,
but
shit,
we're all kind of hoping that it's gonna do what Dart said, the same shit that happened before, where something pops, people are like, oh, well, what's going on, and that's how labels seem to do it, and they just come and just start signing everybody.
But see, here's the thing, right? Here's the difference between now and then. While Boston was really great and had a whole bunch of talent, nobody really stuck together and made it a big movement. Like when you watch the video for Money Earned in Mount Vernon, everybody came to Mount Vernon and was in the Money Earned from Mount Vernon video.
Right.
Everybody was chilling together. So like when you watch the video for like Roll with the Flavor, you don't know where everybody's from because it didn't matter. Everybody's together, right? The thing about Boston is even when we had all these acts signed, nobody was in each other's videos.
Right.
Nobody was bigging each other up. Nobody was doing that. You know what I'm saying?
So remember,
do you think the crabs in the barrel mentality is true?
No, it was just that people were just happy to just be there.
Right.
No, but now.
No, I think now what would happen is if Michael Christmas got on and did a video and shit, I expect Dutch Rebel to be in it.
Right.
I expect Stiz to be in it.
Right.
I expect Av to be in it. I expect all that shit to happen. I expect that Bia did something. She's gonna have all her people in it. I think that's where it's different now. And also the where it's different now is that I was talking to Oompa when she did this show with Ants and Raps last week, and I was telling her, I was just like, I'm somebody who's been around forever, and this is the most talent that the scene has ever had. This is the most viable talent the scene's ever had. If someone came to me and was like, yo, I want to put together a show, can you tell me 5 names?
People, yeah.
Easy.
I could name like 25 people that I have no problem putting on a stage.
Easy.
Yeah, for sure.
With anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
With anybody. Like, and it's like, I would be like, yo, give me a minute. And I would like write down the list, and I would have multiple lists.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, actually, these people are in LA now.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like that. I never had that fucking option before.
Right.
Before it was the same people that rocked every show
Acro,
at the
Slang,
Middle East.
Term.
Yeah, like
yeah.
the tried and true cats that everybody would come out for at Middle East, Western Front, Bill's Bar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Classic shit.
Now we can add them to this fucking huge list of people.
Exactly.
Like there are people that were dope, super dope, that now are just like aren't even a group no more. Like Retrospect. Think about that.
Yeah.
Like you could take Spender and you could take June and you could throw them on the stage and then you could have them do a fucking show together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Like that's how crazy it is now. And I think that's the difference. Now everything would be together.
If one like meaning like #1 hit type shit, it could be like they come
it would open the floodgates.
It would open floodgates. You remember Houston 10, 12 years ago?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden everything was from Houston.
Yeah, and then it's like same thing
but
happened
they
with
was
Chicago.
all in each other's videos and all that shit. Chicago as
Same
well.
thing happened with Chicago. So it's like that's the difference. Atlanta, that's the difference. I think that like back in the days, people were just so happy to be from Boston and be on, and plus half of them didn't get videos.
Right.
And if they did get a video, sometimes it was shot in. Dude, back in the days, New Kids on the Block shot 2 versions of the "Please Don't Go Girl" video.
Please don't go, girl.
Hit that shit still.
I fucking love that song.
There's one version of that video that was shot down the street from me in my neighborhood.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, it was like either on Mass Ave or down by Columbus,
Wow,
right?
They were trying to like street them up a little, or well.
What happened is that they have that version, and then no, because it was actually nice.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so they shot it there, and then The second version, they took him to Brooklyn.
Oh, all right. So it's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
All right,
they took him to Brooklyn. They put him on a fucking train in New York.
Right, yeah.
And then they took him to New York, and they're hanging out with like Italian girls from New York. I'm like, we got those.
We got those right here.
Let's go to the North End. We have those.
We got
like
those.
Alyssa and Anissa, we got them.
I love
Alyssa
it,
spelled 3 ways.
I love it. Yeah, shout out my sister Alyssa.
Yeah.
Yo, so Dart 2 really is like, I mean, this dude, you talk about knowledge, yo, like it's crazy.
I'm just old.
And no, but you're very knowledgeable
he's a
too. There's a
historian,
lot of old people that do not know fucking a quarter of the shit that you know. I remember one time I had this question, and I forget how it was posed to me. Someone posed it to me like on Twitter or something, and I hit up Dart, and I just want you, if you can, just like kind of real quick, because I feel like everybody knows this thing, but like I feel like not a lot of people know where it comes from.
The threes.
And so that's what I asked Dart. I tweeted him one day, and I was like, yo, will you tell me the origin of 3 for the stripes?
That's what I like about Stiz, that he will step outside and not act cool and do shit like that. But just real quick for you answer, I think nationally, people know it from John Cena at this point.
Really?
What do you think?
Is that why? Does he do that?
So here's the thing. Boston started the 3 shit. In the NBA, Boston started the 3 shit.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you. So now every fucking NBA franchise, when they hit a 3, they do their fingers like this.
Yep.
The means of 3. Let me tell you where this shit started. 1997, 1998, Boston Celtics.
Love it.
Fucking it was Paul Pierce and Antoine Walker. They used to lead the league in 3s. They would hit 200 apiece, starting from all the way up till like 1997, 98, when they were not on TV, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2001, 2002. They finally get on TV because they start winning games. And when you win games in the NBA, what happens is they start adding more of your games to the national schedule.
More national games, yeah.
So they add more of your games to TNT, TNN, TBS, and ESPN.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, you start getting games on NBC if you win even more. And that happened in the 2001-2002 season. So, and then the Celtics traded. They did a trade. They got Rodney Rogers and they got Eric Strickland. And all of a sudden, they started winning more after the trade deadline.
Right.
So, when that happened, people started seeing the Celtics games. And when they hit a 3, and remember, they hit 200 threes apiece.
Yeah.
They would do this.
Yep.
And then they did it. They had a long run to the ECF, so the East Conference Finals. They were up 2-1 on the New Jersey after coming back from down 25 or 24, and they won the game. So they were up 2-1, and they were like on track to play the Lakers in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is they fell apart, right? After that season happened, and then like everybody would hit 3s. You got to remember, you had Antoine Walker, you had Paul Pierce, you had Tony Delk, you had Rodney Rogers, you had Eric Strickland, you had Eric Williams. That whole team, you had Walter McCarty.
Dude,
that's 7 players that hit 3s regularly. And so they did this all the time whenever they hit a 3. And it was 3 for the stripes.
Yeah.
3. Because that's the Boston thing. So what happened is after that, people would hit a 3 and they thought this is what you did when you hit a 3.
Right, yeah.
And they have no fucking idea. This is actually a Boston thing.
Right.
And 3 for the stripes started with, between 1979 and like 1982, Adidas became like kind of the official sneaker of Boston because you had all these places. You had eventually what happens, you have Harry the Greeks in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Then there was Mickey Finn's where G-Spin used to work. Then you had Crystals. Yeah, Crystals downtown. And then you had Alpha and Omega, which is at Dudley Square on Washington, which is still there. And you had all these hood spots that sold Adidas. And then what ended up happening is that they sold Adidas everywhere because it became like in New York, the official thing starting like 84, 85, they started wearing what they call uptowns. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so our response was we have an alternate culture to New York. So we wear Adidas. So they wear that, we wear Adidas.
Yep.
It didn't matter what color you wore Adidas. When I went to Boston Latin, the white kids used to wear.
You went to Boston Latin?
Yeah, I went to Boston Latin for 5 years.
So did I.
So the white kids used to wear. They used to wear gazelles and they used to wear sambas. We used to wear the shell toes, the superstars, and we used to wear the torsions. We used to wear the we used to wear like like every kind you could imagine, right? Every kind of Adidas. But everybody wore different kinds of Adidas.
But they were all rocking Adidas.
Yeah, but we were all rocking Adidas. It exploded in '86. when Run DMC came out with my Adidas, and here's the thing: a lot of people don't know. Jam Master Jay has family in Boston.
Oh, really?
So yeah. So when they used to do shows in Boston, it might as well have been a home show.
Yeah.
Right.
They used to hang out. There's this dude Sut. Sut is like a famous b-boy down with the Floor Lords, and he was like an Adidas guy. He had everything was Adidas, and he used to Jam Master Jay. He used to have this Adidas chain. Jam Master Jay used to rock his chain when he performed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like Adidas just became part of Boston's identity to the point where when they had the Air Force Ones and they blew up, Adidas put out these sneakers called the Skyjackers in '88. The Skyjackers were huge in two places, Boston and Detroit. To this day, one of my dreams is to fucking retro the Skyjacker.
Crazy.
One of my first things I ever brought to Adidas, one of the first ideas I ever brought to Adidas was like, I want to retro the Skyjacker. It didn't happen.
Was there ever
you literally were in talks with Adidas?
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah. Was there ever an issue with the three stripes and the Adidas being a Boston thing, and then with the three stripe thing kind of blowing up with a New York group? I know you said he had Jam J had family out here, so when he came here it was like a home show, but there was never any like weird shit over that.
No,
There's nothing.
No, none whatsoever. Because Adidas
was Boston and New York, so
yeah, but it like Run DMC, you would have thought they were from Roxbury.
All right.
When I was a kid growing up, the biggest thing to have was a Run DMC poster. I remember 1986, I was at the Timothy, and we had this fucking candy drive. And I sold just enough candy to get a Run DMC poster.
Hey.
I sold 36 bars in one day.
Hey.
And then I fucking stopped. Because I got the Run DMC poster.
I sold 36 bars right now, SnuckST@gmail.com.
Yeah. And the funny thing was that like people were like, yo, why don't you keep pushing it? I wasn't trying to die.
You just wanted the
Boston,
poster.
Boston back in the days was fucking super fucking it was scary as shit.
Yeah, golly,
so I wasn't gonna fucking go around looking for people to sell bars. This is back when the height of fucking drug dealers and shit.
I don't understand. Like, I don't know what the combat zone was, but like, I just remember when I was a kid, like I would hear my parents talk about it. Like,
fun place.
It was fucking
I went to the
joke.
I went to the Quincy. I went to the Quincy in between 1984. I went to the Quincy between 1984 and 1986.
What's the Quincy?
The Josiah Quincy Elementary School.
Okay.
Now, back then, it was just one building. And it was right there in the combat zone aside from Chinatown.
Yeah, because that's where it is. Like, kind of Chinatown Theater District-y area.
So Chinatown back then was thugged out.
Yeah.
It was fucking crime. It was grimy. It was fun as shit.
That's where the Charles Stewart
fun
shit
as
happened,
shit.
I think.
Yeah, it was super fun, man. Crime and fights would fucking break out. Everybody would get it in. There'd be blood everywhere. Everybody would disperse. The police would show up, and nobody spoke English.
Yeah.
Nobody spoke English. Even if you spoke English, nobody spoke English.
Yeah, for sure.
You like I would just be like, no say.
Yeah, of course.
Like it was a fun time. And the Area D police station was right there. Now it's condos. But the combat zone, it was named that because it was a strip of where they had a whole bunch of like sex shops. And like it was kind of like 42nd Street, but we called it the combat zone because that's where all the fucking gang warfare and fights happened.
Right.
You had Ghost Shadows, you had Gung Ho. They used to beef with all the time. They used to have fights. Something happened, and then they disappear. Like on some real.
Like be out.
Yeah. It'd be out. Yeah. Like straight up. Like we see it happen. Someone gets stabbed. Someone gets shot. Something. They take the person, carry them, bounce.
Be
out.
Be out.
Craziness.
What about bussing? Were you around during the bussing when that shit started?
I was around after the fallout of bussing. And
cause like wasn't Boston like one of like the city like the first cities or something?
They
or maybe
say it is. It wasn't.
It was. There were
wasn't.
multiple.
Boston was just super thing for bussing because Boston's Boston, and everybody tried to use it as an example of how bad racism is.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna give you another side of bussing. Busing is this is what busing is. Busing is you take people from one background and put them in a school where they aren't there. That's all busing is.
Right.
So when you take black kids from Roxbury and Dorchester and Mattapan and put them in Southie or Charlestown, that's all they talk about.
Right.
There's the other side of busing where you take white kids from Charlestown, you take white kids from Eastie, you take white kids from
white kid from Eastie,
from Southie, and you bring them to the South End, Lower Roxbury, or Dorchester. That's the other side of busing.
Right.
That's the side I experienced. We had our white kids imported.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what happened. White kids come in, they get on the bus, they come to the hood, they say, nah. My brother told me when I was a kid, if a white person starts calling you nah, they're calling you one of two things, a nigger or a Knicks fan. Either way, fuck them up. They never got to go. They never got to go. That's real. They never got to go.
It must be pretty ballsy going to,
well,
hopping off a bus. Like,
that's what they learn. So what happened is they get their ass kicked, and next thing you know, that's your friend.
Yeah.
That's your friend for life.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, let me give you some real shit. One of my favorite movies, Boston movies, and I hate most Boston movies, and I use air quotes because they're not Boston movies.
For the most part,
they're bullshit. Yeah. My favorite Boston movie of all the Boston movies is probably The Town. And why is that? Because my friends from Charlestown were my first white friends that I ever made. And of my group of friends, the first ones to ever get arrested were the kids from Charlestown. First ones to ever get pregnant, the ones from Charlestown. First ones to ever get arrested for like robbery, ones from Charlestown.
Townies.
The first ones to get arrested for drugs, Charlestown. First ones to die, Charlestown. And I lived in Roxbury.
Right.
To give you an idea. So when I watched The Town, I grew up with those kids. You know what I'm saying? So there's a part in The Town, and I love this part, when dude goes to his boy and he says, yo, I'm about to do something really stupid. You with me?
Part.
And he says, yeah. I've been that guy.
Yeah.
I've been on both sides of that.
So what's the quote? He's like, yo, we're about to go do something very bad. We're going to hurt some people very bad.
Yeah.
And
Yo, quick, while we on the bus and shit, I seen this shit on CNN the other week. I was telling you, Stiz, that or it was a meme, whatever, but it was from CNN. They quoted school buses having Wi-Fi now to help students connect and shit. And it was a World Star meme. But it was like, they were like, yo, we didn't have fucking heat in our shits. And I know in my shit, we didn't have seatbelts and
shit. There's still no seatbelts on bus.
These little fuckers got Wi-Fi in their bus right now. Heated.
The bus was where we fought. We
right.
fought on the
in
bus.
The back.
And then what we used to have spitball wars.
Oh, so, spitballs.
Another bus would come up, and we used to pull down the windows, and we used to just like spitball wars with the other bus.
Bus battles.
Pull off.
Yeah.
Bus battles.
Man.
That's
we used to like middle finger kids from other schools and stuff. Yeah, man.
You know what Boston? And I'm sure you'll be able to touch on this in some regard.
Yeah.
But you know what Boston is very like groundbreaking for is comedy. A lot
for sure.
of major comedians come out of Boston.
Patrice O'Neal, one of my all-time favorites.
He was from my neighborhood. One of my all-time favorite documentaries is called what's it called? It's about the it's based around the Ding Ho. The Ding Ho was a comedy club.
Oh.
And there was another documentary, and it was just like touched on how many people came through Boston for like a stretch of 20 years to get their career started. Bobcat Goldthwait left New York, came to Boston, was here for like a month, and blew up. You know what I'm saying?
Half the SNL cast of all time is like fucking
Lano,
you were
Seth, all the late night people.
You either came to Boston and then left for New York, or you came from Boston, went to New York, then went to Chicago, and you were Second City.
No, it was part of that major comedy circuit. Always.
Yeah.
It still is.
Yeah.
That transitions, yo. What's going on with my boy Louis C.K. right now, man? Don't do it to my boy. What's going on, Stiz? I haven't seen the details, so I don't know.
He put out an apology today, and he said, yeah, I did it, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. So what is it that he did?
Oh, boy.
He exposed himself to, so basically
because we had to talk last week about all the fucking,
the
sexual bullshit that's happening in Hollywood right now. But then literally 2 days ago, Stiz hit me, yo, your man Louis. I was like, I'm a big Louis fan.
But see, this ain't new.
Nah, of course
it was the best kept secret. Well, no,
People been talking about Louis C.K. for at least 5 years.
Oh, for real? With Louis specifically you're talking about? Oh, I never heard that.
It was like a thing that people in the community knew.
That he's creep status, or that he's like...
He would. Right. So basically the story that it was a younger, I mean, and this is multiple people, but one of them, she was a younger comedian. She opens up for Louis.
Yep.
Now, obviously, I mean, it's like us trying to get on. Like,
well, of course,
you know what I mean? So it's like you're opening up for this big dude. So Louis, after the show, says, yo, come back to my hotel room. We'll have a couple drinks.
Yeah.
They go back there. When they get into the hotel room, and the girl said, like, right away, like, not even like, she's like, before I could even sit down.
Yeah.
He just was like, yo, can I take out my penis? Literally.
Hold on, I laughed, but hold on. These is all the people that are saying this, they were over 18, under 18? What are we talking about? This ain't like the last week shit?
These ones were overage. These weren't
so,
weren't young.
So we're
these
at
were
least
young.
right there, at least for
So
now.
he just whipped out his dick and just started jerking off, apparently.
And so what? This is like an upcoming comedian she just watches? What?
I don't know.
And is this what they all have the same or similar story? What's
yes.
Well, here's the thing. There have been stories like this for years. And then also there's stories where like comedians who hang together tell, like with Jim Norton and shit. Like the one time there's a story where Jim Norton was in a car with 3 other dudes and he pulled out his dick and started jerking off.
What the fuck?
And they're like, Jim, what the fuck
man.
are you doing? And he's like, oh, my bad. And he puts it back in. And Jim Norton, and they asked Jim Norton, it's like, did that happen? He was like, yeah.
And just kept it moving.
So it's like, this is like well-known shit between like comedians and people in different communities. And shit like this in Hollywood has been happening forever. Like, the first time I heard something about Bill Cosby was in the fucking late 80s.
Yeah.
Wow.
And somebody was straight up like, yeah, don't be alone with him. And I'm like, Bill Cosby? And this is when the Cosby Show's popping.
Right.
Because you got to remember, Bill Cosby was living in Massachusetts. He raised his family in Massachusetts.
That's right.
In Amherst.
Where his son was killed.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
His son was killed somewhere else.
Yeah,
but he raised his kids in like Amherst.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Out there,
so I would hear stories and I'm just like, what the fuck? So when the story started coming out, another story came out like when he started doing his second show, Cosby, and he was like, there was this girl who came to the set who was like a comedian. She was an extra. And he came on to her. And I was just like, oh, shit. And everybody was like, she just wants the money. I'm like, no, I don't know about that. And then when everything started coming out 15 years later, I was just like,
told you.
Because let's be honest, my first instinct is always, I don't believe these motherfuckers.
Yeah, well, this is what Louis says. And this is like kind of crazy to me because it seems like, I don't know, I'll see how you guys take it. But it seems like he's like trying to be funny or something. He goes, these stories are true. At the time, I said to myself that what I did was okay because I never showed a woman my dick without asking first, which is also true. But what I learned later in life, too late, is that when you have power over another person, asking them to look at your dick isn't a question. It's a predicament for them.
Yes.
The power I had over these women is that they admired me, and I wielded that power irresponsibly. So, I mean, I just don't. I don't know.
It's just tough hearing this shit because I'm a fan. So it's like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I
hate.
too.
Well, here's the thing. I'm a fan too, and like not only that, but like he's a writer and he was a Boston guy. So like when I was coming up, it was like you always look for examples of people that came from where you came from to do stuff. And I got to tell you, I'm at 88.9% them being assholes.
Yeah.
And it's really fucked up.
Yeah.
Like if I go down the list of like everybody that like, and then the story's like, oh shit. But like when you're in things like I am, and you're a Bostonian where we don't have 6 degrees of separation, we got fucking 1.5.
Yeah, for sure.
So my life has been fucking. I know where the bodies are buried.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I just know like, you ain't shit. Fuck. He's an asshole too.
Right.
And so it's like a lot of people people don't realize like, yo, why you got beef with that guy, or why you think with this guy? People have told me stories.
Yeah.
Right.
And maybe these motherfuckers are rapey. Maybe these motherfuckers robbed somebody. Maybe they did something. And maybe I can't tell the story because somebody told me.
Right.
You know,
of course, yeah.
I'm in confidence. But understand, if I have issues with somebody, I might have personal issues with them. I might have philosophical issues with them. And I might haven't been sworn to secrecy so I don't murder them.
Yeah.
Right.
There's levels.
Yeah.
And when you deal with this industry, man, it's a whole bunch of shit.
I'm curious, you guys personally, what you guys personally think, and then what you think society. So, you know, people like, we're finding out Kevin Spacey, Bill Cosby, Louis C.K. I mean, it's almost like we should name people who not.
There's levels to the shit,
I would also like to give an
categories.
addendum. I would also give an addendum. None of this information is new for me.
Yeah,
I knew about Kevin Spacey. I knew about all these other people. Matter of fact, when the information starts coming out on Twitter, I'm like, what about this person, and this person? I'm waiting for that shoe to drop.
Yeah.
So like somebody I'm waiting to drop is fucking Dan Schneider.
So I have it. Oh yeah, all right.
Dan
that's
Schneider,
what I was gonna ask you.
I'm waiting for somebody to fucking have the smoking gun on Dan Schneider.
Really?
Dan Schneider is a fucking is a total asshole.
Dan Schneider's a comedian, right?
No, Dan Schneider is a guy who produces and directs shows with kids and has forever. He used to be on Head of the Class. He used to work with Brian Robbins, who was produced for Robin Tolan.
He looks like a pedo.
He is a pedo,
bro.
And
yo, who the fuck is that?
He looked like
I don't even know who that is.
That's all I know.
Okay, so Lou Pearlman, he's like,
I know who that
he's
is.
like the Lou Pearlman
Okay.
of kids television.
Okay.
Got me now.
And the thing is that Lou Pearlman, people would tell you about Lou Pearlman. Rich
Right.
Cronin died
It's
later.
already,
and
I think Red State, I never heard of this site, but Red State, the next big Hollywood sex scandal is already breaking at Nickelodeon.
Yo, as Dot says.
Oh, his was crazy because they fired a guy at Nickelodeon for being a sexual assaulter. And I was like, oh, they fired him? When they gonna get to Dan Schneider?
Yeah.
Dan Schneider makes so much money for Nickelodeon that they could just print money right there in the office. And I think that's why nobody's pulling the trigger. Because if you look at their catalog, they have like 10 fucking shows that still make money today because of him, because of Snyder's Bakery.
Well, here's what I wanted to ask. Should society be like, or in you, are you able to separate the art from the person? Like, House of Cards is done. They're pulling that shit. Louis C.K., they pulled all his shit off Netflix. They pulled all,
Did they pull all the Netflix
it's
shit?
fucking gone, bro.
Because he was eating off that.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is twofold, right? People knew about this shit beforehand. It's just that now that it's out, they don't want to be associated. But when you pull a show like that, what happens is he's not the only motherfucker on the show.
Yeah.
Other people are on that show that get residuals and money from it. So when you pull it, you're hurting them too.
Right.
And so here's what's crazy. When they pulled the Cosby Show, everybody who was on that show who got residuals stopped getting residuals because it was no longer in syndication. So
how many people you think is on House of Cards and all that shit behind the scenes, on the scenes?
They're not. If they pull House of Cards off of the show or off completely, they're fucking. I don't understand that. Now, if they say in our next season we're going to kill off his character and not have him there, I get that. But what are you gonna do? Not show the other 5 seasons?
Yeah.
Right.
Because here's the thing: everybody was complicit in this shit. And they only cared now that it came out.
That was like the Family Guy joke. So I don't know if you've seen it, but like Dart said, it's like
everybody's known this
shit. Everybody's known this shit.
Everybody knows this shit.
What's the Family Guy shit?
So ready? So Stewie comes running through a mall. Ready?
Yeah.
Right.
Help! I've escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement. Help me!
Seth is plugged.
Yeah.
He's plugged in, obviously.
Yeah. Well, Seth also made a joke about Harvey Weinstein
at the Oscar or
at the Oscars.
award show,
and everybody laughed like this.
Oh, shit.
And the thing is that everybody knew about Harvey Weinstein. Everybody's known about Harvey Weinstein. There's a joke on 30 Rock where homegirl says, I managed to escape Harvey Weinstein 3 out of 5 times.
Yes.
Wow.
And that shit was right there in everybody's face.
Even Courtney Love, who sometimes I
seen
don't
that.
really fuck with,
if you
was on a carpet
don't
and they were like,
go to Harvey Weinstein's house for a meeting.
Yeah,
that's what she said,
like,
right?
Do you have any advice for up-and-comers? And she said, don't go to
Yo,
Harvey
Dot,
Weinstein.
what's the most heat you ever took for either an article or even like a tweet or something you said or whatever? Backlash, heat, whatever.
Well, see, here's the thing. I don't really get backlash because everything I say is true. Even if it's like an opinion, other people might not agree with me.
Right.
But they're like,
I like your style. It's very
people
similar.
aren't people. I don't get backlash and heat because you get backlash and heat when you say something you shouldn't have said.
Okay.
I get reactions when I say something that nobody else
is saying but everybody's kind
and
of
everybody
thinking.
knows,
Right.
but they don't want me to say it because it might fuck up somebody's money.
Right.
That's what I get.
Right.
So that's happened to me like 30, 40 times. But here's the thing. It's done nothing to me because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So if I say something like fuck Elliot Wilson, Wilson is
Get
like
into that.
Yeah, will you talk a little bit about why you have beef?
Why is it
and
fuck
I wouldn't
Elliot
even call
Wilson?
it beef, but
it is.
You don't,
it's beef.
You don't,
It's beef.
I love it. Let's go.
All right. So okay, my issues with Elliot Wilson is three parts. Right. One of them is philosophical. Elliot Wilson used to work in the indie underground rap industry. And then when he wanted to move up in the industry, he started taking these jobs, these bigger jobs. And then when
this is way before XXL.
Oh, this is before XXL. He used to be at Ego Trip. Then he moved from Ego Trip and he worked at the Source. Because when he was working at Ego Trip, he always kind of wanted to be at the Source. Then he was at the Source. The shit didn't shake out the way he wanted it to for whatever reason. So then he goes to XXL. At the time it goes to XXL was beefing with Eminem.
Yeah.
XXL was like
Right.
still doing like kind of underground, maintaining like their
Double
rap
XL.
thing.
Double
But,
XL.
yeah, but the thing was that they hadn't really gone up and like started selling a bunch of units. So what he did was he ramped it up at XXL, where his whole point was, I'm trying to outsell the source. I'm
Yeah.
trying to outsell the source. Now, anybody who was ahead at the time who read magazines will tell you, or was a writer will tell you, that was the wrong fucking position to take. He should have tried to make XXL the best rap magazine out, because the best rap magazine out, anybody will tell you, was a magazine called Stress. Stress beat everybody's ass all those years. But what XXL did was they tried to make it so that it was super commercial.
And what? Not in sales.
And, no. I mean, in content.
All right.
XXL beat everybody in sales. So what happened was Elliot made it really commercial, and he started sucking everybody's dick.
Right.
So it got to the point where XXL was like Oprah on the cover of Oprah magazine. So it was just like whoever was hot was on the cover, and G Unit, Aftermath, Shady was on damn near every other cover.
Yeah.
To the point where they did a exclusive Shady cover, where you're like, who owns this fucking magazine?
Right.
You talking about the infamous Fifth Dre and M cover?
Yeah, and I'm like, who owns this magazine?
Yeah.
So basically, what happened while he was working at XXL, that's when he made his partnership with Peter Rosenberg and everybody else.
Paul,
My mistake,
Paul.
not Peter Rosenberg.
Yeah.
Paul Rosenberg, Paul Bunyan.
yeah.
That was his rap name in Detroit.
Yeah.
So he started. That's when he made his deal with Paul Rosenberg, and he started like having his friendship with them and all the other stuff. So then when he started Rap Radar, this is another part. When I blogged, and I wasn't a blogger for a long time, I always felt I was a journalist who was forced into doing this because I didn't have any entry into the rap writing game.
Yeah.
So I was forced to blog and be called a blogger. Even when I blogged, I was a fucking journalist and I was busting everybody's ass. I was better than the motherfuckers that were on the
Because you were
magazine.
blogging on
Talk that
XXL
shit.
website, weren't? I mean,
I was a regular at the XXL website.
Yeah, because I remember reading your shit. I think that's where I first discovered you, to be honest.
I used to be in the comments, and so when I started Poisonous Paragraphs, what happened was I built that by writing well about multiple subjects, 5 times a week if I could, at least. Maybe sometimes I wrote every fucking day, and I wrote detailed stuff. I didn't write just bullshit. I wrote detailed stuff. I wrote full reviews. I reviewed 8 albums at once on a Friday. Thank you to Static Selector for being the first person to hit me off with music that made me do that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shout out Stat.
August 2007, I ran into him in the mall. It was him and Big Mike by luck, and he handed me 50 bodies,
One.
and he handed me the bar exam.
Royce.
And I was just like, because he knew who I was because he used to read the blog. And I was the first person that said I'm Dart Adams to him. And he didn't tell anybody who I was.
Was it a mall out here or in NY?
It was right behind my house.
Oh,
it was
wow.
it was Copley Mall,
Yep,
right
yep.
behind my house. I was like, yo, I'll review these. And that's what started my review section. But what happened was I built that blog. You know what I'm saying? I didn't take anything from anybody. Anybody wanted me to write something, I said no to them because I didn't have freedom. And I built that. When Elliot Wilson started Rap Radar, he had funding from Paul Rosenberg.
Absolutely.
And he bought his way in. So what happened was the first time he puts out his blog, Miss Info, he puts up previews on Miss Info's site. And then he premieres the site, and like after 3 weeks, he's already on lists. And I'm like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
People didn't pay attention and really put me on anything for years until I did my shit. Because I had to work.
Right.
And like what you just did is a fucking violation. So I had issue with that. And okay, I had a relationship with him because I used to write stuff on Twitter. He used to follow me on Twitter. Him and his wife followed me on Twitter. And like when I wrote something on Twitter, he would like make it a discussion on Rap Radar in the early days. But I used to butt heads with B-Dot because B-Dot would say some stupid shit and I used to shut him down.
Yeah, fucking B-Dot.
So I would say some shit, I shut down B-Dot, and B-Dot got sick of being embarrassed by me. So one
Talk
time they
that
had this.
shit.
So one time they had this. This is back in the days of Ustream.
Yep.
So they did a Ustream, and B-Dot said some stupid shit, and I shut him down in the type, and then he pops off at me, and I see Elliot's face, like, oh shit, this is gonna be an issue. So
this
what
shit is
happens?
live.
Yeah. So what happens is, and this is another thing, they used to steal shit. So they stole an idea that used to happen was Hip Hop Confessions, which used to be on YouTube. And they stole Hip Hop Confessions, and B-Dot did his hip hop confession that he never got into Dilla during his career. And now, if you don't like Dilla, that's whatever. But when you call yourself a hip hop nerd and you weren't into Dilla, that's a damning statement, because what that means is Dilla was a producer. When you're a producer, that means you work with 50 motherfucking people. And he says he wasn't aware of Dilla throughout his entire career. So what that tells me is that you never heard a fucking Erykah Badu album.
Right.
So what that tells me is that you never heard a fucking Bilal album in your life. What that tells me is you never heard a you weren't paying attention when D'Angelo put out his album, because he produced on D'Angelo's album. You know what I'm saying? What that tells me is that, and he was like, and don't tell me he's the guy who produced Stakes is High for De La Soul. Well, motherfucker, he produced Stakes is High for De La Soul. So that means that you weren't paying attention when Q-Tip put out Amplified. He produced that shit. You weren't paying attention when he produced the last 2 albums for A Tribe Called Quest. When you say you didn't know anything about Dilla, that means that you don't read liner notes.
Yeah.
You don't know shit.
Right. You know the other thing Elliot did that I always thought was a little grimy, and I mean, I guess I don't know if I understand it, but like, you know, he starts Rap Radar, and this thing is supposed to be, you know, encompass all rap and for the culture.
Yeah, and that's another issue we had, because he said something was for the culture, and then I was like, yo, how are you for the culture if you're posting up things about like Chris Brown dyed his hair blonde? What the fuck does that have to do with the culture?
And then we'll refuse to cover any other podcasts or blogs that are doing it. You know what I mean? Like refuses to cover Drink Champs, refuses to cover what's Combat Jack. He was one of the early guys that supported Combat Jack. I will say that much. Oh, was he? Well, I never see that shit on Rap Radar. You know what I mean? They only fucking post Rap Radar.
Yeah, but like he was one of the early guys who was really bigging up Combat Jack, because I was one of the other early guys who was bigging up Combat Jack.
I know. Yeah.
I was in that circle. And I've never been on the Combat Jack show, and I know Combat Jack is going through his cancer fight right now. So
really,
combat cancer, colon cancer. So yeah, I'm sending all the hope and dreams to him. But I had philosophical issues, because I used to go back and forth with Elliot. I'm like, dude, why you say this shit? Like, we cover the culture, because what happened was B-Dot was complaining all the time. He was like, people keep saying it like we're supposed to document the culture. I was like, then document the culture. You're not documenting the culture. All you're doing is documenting the mainstream rap industry. Yeah. That's not the fucking culture. So back to the issue with B-Dot, I shut B-Dot down, and I wrote this piece, kind of tongue-in-cheek, talking about Dilla, and like, you had to be there. And like, I wrote this entire piece, and it pissed him off. It set him off. And he started sending shots. And I would, of course, shut them down on Twitter. And, of course, you know, with me on Twitter, when I shut motherfuckers down, everybody's like, ooh.
If y'all don't follow Dar Adams on Twitter, you're missing
Yeah, so like,
missing all types of shit.
Yeah, so like, I would do it, and I would make it bigger, and like, his face would be getting red. You could tell, because he wouldn't even have facts. He would just like be sending like shots. He was just like, whatever, you're old. Once you go chew a chew stick or whatever and rock a backpack. I'm like, dude. This is shit people used to say to me in 1992. You ain't got nothing better than that? And he would keep writing things that were like misrepresentative of the culture, or just factually inaccurate, or just ahistorical, and I would shut him down for years. And that's how like I beef. And it got to the point where Elliot's wife stopped fucking with me because how I was going Danielle. I will give her credit. She stopped fucking with me. Danielle Smith stopped fucking with me first, because he would still follow me. So he would do his little shows, his little podcasts or whatever, and he would still follow me, because Elliot Wilson was not somebody who put his nose to the grindstone. He was not somebody who had his ear to the street.
To just kind of see what
he watched what everybody else was doing. And that's where our issues lied. And he wasn't doing anything original. And another thing was curation. This is key for me. When Instagram was new and you could only do 15 seconds, I would go to shows, right? I would watch shows. I would anticipate what's going to happen in the show. I would record 15-second parts, and I would go through them, and I would delete the shit that didn't work. And if it was a good part, a 15-second part, I would upload that to Instagram. I would take pictures, still pictures, and then put it in between. And when you curate, you have to tell a story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if MOP is in Boston, I'm going to have them starting out fucking ante up, or the banter with the crowd. Then I'm going to have a picture of them, everybody bugging out or whatever. Elliot Wilson didn't understand that in curation. So what he would do, he'd go to a fucking Beyonce show. He would just record 15-second clip, 15-second clip, 15-second clip, 15-second clip. And I would go back and forth with people like he doesn't get it.
Right.
He doesn't understand because he never understood blogging. So my issue with him was philosophical because why the fuck did you start a blog?
If you don't know how to blog.
If you don't know what blogging is or what it means. Why are you going to be a curator when you don't know how to fucking curate?
Well, you rap if you can't rap.
How you going to say that you're for the culture and then not fucking cover the culture? When 5 Points was going through its thing, before they shut down 5 Points, Rap Radar never did a piece about 5 Points. If you're here for the culture, why don't you do a piece on 5 Points? If you're here for the culture, how come whenever they had the Red Bull BC battles for the B-Boys, how come you never posted that on Rap Radar
Right.
if you're here for the culture? Anything that had to do with like rap, actual rap, or like hip-hop, they never fuck with it.
Right.
How come you never posted anything that happened on the Red Bull, the Red Bull Music Academy?
Super mainstream.
Yeah.
Fucking,
So like the Red Bull Music Academy, when they had call outs for people to like, be the next class, how come you didn't post that on Rap Radar if you're here for the culture? So what happened was B-Dot did his attack on Hot 97 for not supporting supposedly a New York rap. And I'm like, I've been on Hot 97 for not supporting New York rap since fucking 2005. Where the fuck have you been? And I did this piece that fucking destroyed B-Dot. It destroyed B-Dot to the point people in my DMs thanking me for doing it. Thanking me for doing it.
When was this?
It's like 2011 to 2012, maybe.
What was it called? Can we still find it somewhere?
Yeah, it's on.
All them shits are up.
It's on. Everything I did is still up. It's on Bastard Swordsman. Okay. I can't remember exactly what it's called because I wrote 100 pieces on there. Yeah. Like quite literally, it's 10 pages. If you go to page 1 and scroll down, page 2, page 3, you could go through everything I fucking wrote in 3 years on that shit in no time, and you'll be entertained as fuck.
The writing is crazy too,
Yeah.
man. I've been up on shit a lot lately.
So and it's like right now what I do is on Mass Appeal.
Mass Appeal, yeah.
Knowledge Darts. But basically I've been going back and forth with them forever. And now I don't even do it anymore because it's not fun. And I don't have a point. Because Rap Radar has gone to a point where it's like I don't fuck with it. I don't read it. Nobody talks about it where I am.
And it's just, they're not what they used to be anymore.
Yeah. Nobody talks about Rap Radar anymore. No. So it's like, what am I going at you for?
So I got a few more for you just because I know we
we got to
I know we got 5 or 10 left tops. You fucking hate this dude, Elliot, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Who hates you and why?
Complex.
Complex fucking hates
you. Noah, Callahan, Bever, and especially what's that? Joe LaPuma. Yeah, they fucking hate my guts.
Do they?
Yes, and I'm fucking glad. Because it's dessert. Because I earned it.
What was I gonna ask you? You guys seen the fucking you guys seen the Ric Flair shit?
Yeah. Documentary.
I didn't see the 30. I didn't see the 30 for 30 yet.
I'm gonna watch it.
That shit was fucking amazing.
Was
Me and Los was talking about that shit on the way up here.
Ric Flair is one.
I need to rewatch it though because that was
one of my all-time favorites.
You a wrestling head?
Yeah, I'm old.
I thought you was too.
I mean, if you grew up we grew up where you only had fucking 7 channels.
Right.
You didn't have a choice. You grew up watching wrestling.
But I'm still ahead. You still fuck with it?
I fuck
when
with
you
it.
Can, or what
I
is
fuck
it like?
with it when I can, cause like I'll watch SmackDown when it comes on. But like I understand wrestling is a different thing now. Like it's an industry.
Much like music and everything.
Yeah, it's an industry. I think it's a creative industry now. I wish that they would listen to the fans more.
Yeah, for sure.
WWE pisses me off because there are people that could book better that watch.
Me, you probably.
Yes.
There
are people that could write better that are in the fucking audience.
Yeah, for sure.
I think one of the best things the WWE did was admit that it was fucking entertainment. That opened up everything. So when I watch it now, when you watch a fucking match or you see it's like Mickey James or something like that, I think it's dope. What they fuck up is they don't embrace everybody.
They have
to,
yeah.
Dude, New Japan, every other fucking underground wrestling site, dude, they need to embrace that and they need to adapt that to.
So meaning when AJ Styles show up, they just pretend that he just showed up.
Yeah,
and it's his first day on wrestling.
Why don't they fucking mention where he came from?
Right.
What are you doing? Everybody's watching it.
They keep trying to put Roman over too, and the crowd.
Yeah, we hate it, obviously.
Well, because this is where wrestling is like the music industry. They will do everything in their power to put somebody over.
This shit is so true.
And try to make them win, and we see through it.
Yeah. It's see-through, yeah.
I call it make him look strong. And you all know, every wrestling head knows where that comes from.
Right.
I call it that in the music industry too. I say that they did that same shit with Designer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they push everybody over. I kind of feel like they kind of wanted to do it with Cardi B, but they didn't have to.
They didn't have to.
They didn't have to. She blew up on her own. She blew up in a way that they didn't expect. And now everybody turned around like, wait, this y'all like that?
Right.
But here's the thing. The industry, are they going to try to make another one? Or are they just going to fucking stand back and let that happen? Because they try to push too much. And in wrestling, they really try to push too much. And they sometimes do it to the point where you lose sight of what made people like a character, or what made a certain person resonate with them.
Now I hear a lot of that is Vince, and people are thinking,
oh, Vince is a fucking idiot.
A lot of people thinking when he's gone, which
Triple H,
clock's ticking here. When he's gone, when Tripp takes over, they think he's gonna. Tripp did start the NXT and all that shit movement. He is bringing some new things. Whatever, we'll see how that goes. But I was just curious if y'all watch that shit, because even when you're not wrestling head, ESPN does such a good job with them 30 for 30s. Like non-wrestling heads love that shit. Like I don't fuck with baseball, but like I watch a 30 for 30 because it's so dope.
Dart, I got another last question. How much do you hate Big Sean?
Okay, so Big Sean, my
issue,
I don't mind him
because I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan either?
My issues with Big Sean come from him, make him look strong, and him being mediocre. Big Sean is super mediocre, but they keep trying to push him on everybody, and they keep trying to push him over. And the other thing is that I hear his albums, and I'm like, no. If he has a single that blows up, I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
They try so hard to get him over and move him to that next echelon, that next tier, and he's never going to reach that tier. He's never going to go. He's never going to reach it.
I've been saying that.
But name drops him on.
Yeah, he did.
Of course he does, because he's from Detroit.
Yeah.
All the Detroit artists push him crazy.
Yeah,
like I love and respect Royce the 5'9", but no, Sean's not the guy.
Nah.
Yeah.
He's not the guy. Yeah. There are 50 rappers better than Sean in Detroit right now, and I'm friends with like 30 of them.
Let me ask you this: does your fucking skin crawl when he says B.I.G.?
No, because I've never heard him say it. Because I don't listen to his shit.
I hear him say that shit if he's on the radio. He says that shit like in the background.
B.I.G.
Oh, I fucking want to blow my brains out. Just real quick, because you interviewed Prodigy.
Yes, I did.
I never met Prodigy in real life, and this was only a couple years ago, right? This was like during the MIT shit or whatever.
Yeah, but I've known Prodigy since he used to hang out with my cousins in Boston when they were signed to RCA together.
Oh, all right.
So I know.
So you had a relationship with
Prodigy. I knew Prodigy forever. Like he would see me like, yo, you look familiar.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Things, yeah.
And I knew him. I also knew him through Ice, who was like managing him, and
all right.
And like when I interviewed him at MIT, it was like the first time I interviewed him in a long time. But it's funny because after I interviewed him at MIT, if you watch the interview on YouTube, I tell him that Nas just got a medal at Harvard.
The Harvard shit, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, so it's possible. Next time I see him, he's speaking at Harvard.
Right.
He came through at Harvard with Kathy Yandolini for his book, The Commissary Kitchen. And I was there for that too.
We had him on. I got him on the Hillman Morning Show to call in.
He came through Hillman. I didn't even know that.
He didn't come through. He called.
Called? That's still dope.
Yeah, but yeah, man, I interviewed a lot of people, man. I hate being in front of the camera too. But people say I'm a good interviewer, but I hate being on.
Oh yeah, you are. You just because you're knowledgeable, bro. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
You can always tell when someone like knows what.
Yeah, he's not faking the funk. He never has.
My favorite interview, I will say, is the Jadakiss interview because he was high as shit.
Dope.
And I asked some questions to sober them up.
All right.
Where's that? Can we find that on YouTube?
It's on YouTube. Dark Adams versus Jadakiss.
Yo, quick, because we gotta let you go. Who fucking sucked like to interview?
Well, here's the thing. The way I interviews don't really suck, but my hardest interview, I will say,
I like how you always find a way to big yourself up. That's
my hardest interview was probably
hardest. All right, do that.
Pete Rock, because Pete Rock and I have a history that goes back to him being a fucking like teenager in like 1986 and him being family friends. So, and then when I interviewed him,
dog, the connection.
We wanted to go. I tried to rush it because Slum Village is on stage. If you watch the interview, you hear Slum Village performing on stage, and they're doing their jams. So we're like bobbing our heads while we're rapping, while we're doing the interview, and like we're trying to hurry up the fucking interview so we can go watch the show.
I didn't see that one. I'll peep that one.
Yeah, so that was the hardest interview because I was like, yo, what Like, what am I gonna ask you?
Right.
And then I was like, now I'm not gonna try to keep you, because if you watch the Slum Village interview I did before, that's the longest Slum Village interview they ever did, because we covered everything.
They fucked with it.
And the
so
Pete
heavy.
Rock interview, I sped that shit up so we could go watch the show. So that was
Crazy.
the toughest one.
Real quick,
Right,
Dart
Steve.
Adam, tell them where they can find you, where they can read all your shit, follow you on the socials. Let them fucking know.
Let them read your
so-
shit and your new piece, so about the classics, and tell them about the new piece coming up and where you plug.
Okay, so you can find me everywhere, Dart_Adams, Instagram, Twitter. Basically, my blogs are Poisonous Paragraphs. My next blog was Bastard Swordsman, and I did two runs of the same column I do now. It's called Knowledge Darts. The first run was on what was it called? The Stashed. So I did 8 on the Stash from 2014 to 2015. The Stash went under. So then I brought it to Mass Appeal this year. So I've done 27 of them on Mass Appeal. The last piece I did was getting at everybody about rap classics and how nobody knows what the fuck a rap classic is and they need to shut the fuck up.
Everybody got to read that shit.
The next piece I'm doing is gonna be called Something Just Ain't Right, and I'm just gonna let you know that it's gonna be like a second part to the first piece I did. The first piece I did was telling everybody to shut the fuck up. The next piece I'm gonna do is telling everybody to sit the fuck down.
Love it.
Love it.
Love it.
Dart Adams, thank you
Dart
so
Adams.
much for coming, man. That
No
was
doubt.
that was our longest episode, Snuk.
I knew it would be, and I
we knew
I
it
could
was
do
gonna be
another
long.
2 hours,
Yeah,
but I know you got to
for
bounce the
real.
shit down.
Yeah,
I will be here all
I know.
fucking night.
Yeah.
We're definitely gonna have Dart Adams back. Thank you so
time to
much
get
for
some
coming.
drinks, man.
You
No
can hit
doubt.
us up. We are at Stuck on Stuff Podcast on Instagram, Stuck on Stuff on Twitter.
StuckOnStuffPodcast at gmail.com. Hit us up for anything. And today's Stuck on Stuff is brought to you by Bodega Alexander in Lawrence,
And
Massachusetts.
also, you can still put in coupon code Grimy on Randys.com and get you some shit. He is Superstar Snuk on Superstar Snuk ST on everything.
Superstar Snuk, regular
I
on everything.
suck
You suck
dick
at life,
so
kid.
bad,
SuperstarSnuk.com.
yo,
Go watch the videos on the best rapper. Let's go.
StizGrimy.com. Thorazine Shuffle out now. Stuck on Stuff. We'll see you next week.
Peace.